Welcome to the Clean Mentality Podcast, where we focus solely on what you can do daily to make your life easier physically, mentally, and spiritually. I am your host, Easton. Let's get after it. Christian, welcome to the show, man.
What is up, brother? I appreciate you having me, dude. You're doing a good show here. I can see the intention behind it. It's been awesome. I've learned a lot of things from your show for sure.
I appreciate that, man. So I didn't realize you listened to it. So
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I like yours as well. So,
Appreciate it.
um, so kind of surprising how we met, like through Kaizen. Another friend of mine through Kaizen. So, you're 19, right?
Yep, 19.
So yeah, that's the things that you're doing at 19 is pretty freaking amazing to me. And most people at 19 are drinking and drugs or just fucking off, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, tell us a little bit about like what you're doing.
So I grew up in the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. Um, I personally, I had a really good childhood. I mean, family was all there. Everyone was supportive all through school. I wouldn't say I was the good kid. I definitely, sure as hell, was not the good student. I could tell you, I didn't pass with flying colors. It was a struggle to get everything done, only because it didn't really interest me. But from high school, I decided, the best route for me was to go with real estate. At this point now, I've been a real estate agent for a year and a half. I've done 75 hard. I've been hitting the gym for about 3.5 years now consistently. And personally, I've just stepped into the personal development field probably about, I would say, 6 months ago. Life changing. I mean, the guys I met just through personal development, through real estate, through Kaizen has been huge. And it's led me here. I mean, I've been in the industry for about a year and a half, and I've just been kind of working to get myself better every single day.
I love it, man. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit more about your 75 hard experience, because I know like, what was it, about a month ago you finished it?
Yeah, so it was January 5th was my last day. And so I started 75 hard. It was back in October, and I know Brad Modrich for a long time before that, just in real estate. He owns a credit solution company. So I've known him prior. He had an event over at the Renaissance Hotel called Unite and Conquer. He said, "Yo, Christian, you cannot miss this. Come out. It's huge." So I went out and met a bunch of really cool people. The value there was awesome. And then one of the guys there, Dave, I forget his last name, but he was one of the presenters, and he was talking about 75 hard. I've heard of this program before. It interests me, but it never really was something that I actually looked into because I didn't know anything about the personal development industry. I went to the gym and I'm fit. Yeah, I was just like, hey, I mean, whatever. I don't really you can't do what you don't know. So once I learned about it, I was like, oh shit, like I really like that. Like that is a really good program that I want to go for. And so uh, that event was on, I believe it was a Saturday, and Monday morning, 75 hard, first day, I broke out the 75 hard book. That was the first book I read, and I read all the way through like page 97. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, wow, all right. Guess I'm gonna need to get a couple more books. So from there, I mean, 75 hard was so transformative for me. So it just opened my mind up to a whole lot of things. And I had discipline, but not anywhere close to what I have after doing 75 hard. And it's exactly what the name says. It's hard. There was times where I sat there and all my friends were doing whatever else, and they were out at a party or whatever. I'm sitting there rucking in 30-degree weather, and I'm like, damn, man, like I guess this is what it's about. The hardest part for me, I think, personally, was the diet. For me, and honestly, after 75 hard, I'm a huge eater. I love packing in as many calories as I can because I weigh 160 pounds soaking wet with rocks in my pockets, and I want to get my weight to 185. And for me, it's so hard to eat clean and get to that number. And in reality, it's just me needing to be more knowledgeable there and me needing to just eat more food. But that was the hardest part. And it wasn't just eating clean that was like the hard part. It was consistently eating things that I felt didn't line up with my goals. So I can't, like, it's not like I'm going to go out and drink a ton of whole milk because obviously it has a ton of fat in it. So, on a normal day, I would because I need those calories. So it kind of combated with my mindset a little bit. But after doing it, I understand eating clean is going to take me a hell of a lot further than just packing calories in and trying to get my weight up just by eating junk. So that was a huge transformer for me. And another thing was, and I was actually just talking to Jesse from Kaizen about this, was my running. I never did cardio. I was a gymnast for about 6.5 years. Or it was closer to 7 or 8. I don't even know, but I was a young kid and I was in good shape, hitting the gym for 3 years at that point when I started 75 hard. And, I never really ran. I never had interest in running. It just never kind of struck me. So when I had to start doing outside workouts, the first thing I did was a run. And embarrassingly enough, I ran an 11-minute mile for my first mile on 75 hard. And I sat there and saw all the other dudes in Kaizen run 6-minute miles. I was like, what the hell just happened? I thought I was in shape. No, it turns out I was not in cardio shape. That's for sure.
Endurance is a whole nother level.
Uh-huh. But that was such a big difference because I think it was like the third last day of 75 hard, it was pouring out. It was 33 degrees and I'm going for a run outside. I ended up running 5 miles in 45 minutes and being able to hit that 9-minute mark for 5 miles. If you told me to run 5 miles like 8 months ago, I would have laughed in your face and never thought I could do that. And then
Right.
it's that transforming of I started here and made it here. And that's just the physical stuff that I got out of 75 hard. The mental is a whole different can of worms. You will never be the same after you do 75 hard because it's simply the program that just redesigns you. I believed it in the beginning of listening to Frisella's podcast and everything. Once you actually do it, once you actually get through that 75 days, and it doesn't even have to be through the 75 days. Week 2, I was starting to not even recognize myself. And I'm like, wow, this is week 2. This is day 14. What the hell am I going to do on day 75? Which we can go into that story. I can tell you that story if you would like to hear it. Day 75 was a shit show to say the least. But it was 75 hard it was amazing. It was awesome. It was super crazy for me.
Yeah, and I guess if people don't know, like, you can find 75 Hard on like Andy Frisella's website or his podcast, Real AF, or you can DM me or something. So
And if he talks about it on his podcast a little bit about his 75 hard book, which is now discontinued. He opened out a new book, and he has that one, which has the 75 hard program in it. But if you can get your hands on the 75 hard book, I urge you, before you do 75 hard, read that book. And once you go into 75 hard, you will be so prepared it's not even funny. Either way, it's going to be a shock to your system because normal people don't just have this kind of discipline, this kind of consistency in their day to day. So to be hit with that all at once, it's going to be a shock either way. But this book is going to get you mentally there to say, I'm doing this. Like, it's not, I'm trying this. It's not, let's see how it goes. This is 75 days. I'm doing this 75 days. That's it. Period. That's it. And there's so much good information in that book. It's insane.
no, I've read both books, so yeah, they're crazy good. But so this kind of leads me to my next question: is with 75 hard, did you just do one go through?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, you
First go
did.
through.
So you got one go through. Well, okay, I'm in the other spectrum then, but
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of attempts, right? I guess for you, like, give me an example of a time when you've like used failure, like you failed at something, and then what did you do next?
I am a a huge, huge advocate for failure. I think failure is the root of all good, and that's genuine because you have to already have kind of the mindset to understand failure and learn from failure. But my key to failing is once I fail, I have to assess why I failed. It's not a why did it happen to me? It's what caused my failure. And then from there, how can I fix that so I can move forward and assess that next time so I don't fail again in that little whatever I'm working on. I don't fail in that again. And for me, failure has been a huge proponent of my business because whenever I do something wrong, whenever something doesn't go the way I planned for it to go, I completely can see why it didn't work out. I can address what I need to do next time to make it better. And every single time you fail, as long as you can implement that literal two-step system, you're going to win. As long as you can implement that two-step system, that's going to push you forward every time because every time you fail, you're going to get back up and you're going to be better. And for me, I encourage failure for myself and I go into places as blind as possible and as scared as possible because I need to break those barriers. And I know once I fail, I'm going to learn that area and then be able to expand to more areas. So failure has been absolutely massive to me. Absolutely massive to me.
So something else I'm just thinking about like what you're saying and everything, and I'm like, dude, you're like when I was your age, like I know it makes me sound old, but I'm not old. Like I'm just 26. Um, like to have that kind of knowledge right now would be just at that age would be fucking great. And it's another thing like a lot of people put the age on them, right? Like, oh, I'm young, like I got time, or oh, I'm old, I can't do that physically anymore. Like that's one of the dilemmas that I kind of see in a lot of people's lives. Um, but fuck yeah, good on you. And then so so with failure, like if you're sitting in that point of okay, this just happened. When you're saying like let's look at what I did wrong, you're not saying let's sit there and dwell on the problem, right?
Correct. Absolutely. It takes a few minutes. If you're actually wanting to learn from your failure, it takes a matter of a few minutes or even a few seconds to realize what the hell went wrong. Because as humans, I forget who even said, I think it was Hormozy, we are
Yeah.
much more able to dissect why something went wrong than a solution. Uh, so when I have a problem, it's not that I'm sitting there saying, oh man, like pity me, like this sucks, whatever. No, it is instant go mode to why did I fail? And you have to, in my opinion, it has to go back to being brutally honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. You can't sugarcoat it. If you're sugarcoating to yourself, you got a huge problem. And in my opinion, you're not going to grow. You're never going to grow if you're sugarcoating yourself. And the one thing you have to do when addressing these failures is tell yourself honestly, hold yourself accountable. If you made the mistake, then learn from your mistake. Like just call yourself out. And that's how you're going to fix a problem. So it's not that I'm sitting there, letting it eat away at me and this and that. No, I'm sitting there understanding why it went wrong simply so I can reverse that and say, hey, how can I make this better next time? It's all about finding the problem and then troubleshooting. And I kind of want to talk about a little bit again about me, the job I had before this. When I was in high school, I started when I was about 15 years old, and it went till I was about 18 when I left to go to real estate. I was working full time with school. I would kind of do it online, and then full time work as an industrial maintenance mechanic on these big industrial machines. And as a 15-year-old, I'm not really well versed in the industrial maintenance area. I never had training
Yeah.
for it. So where my mind was at was I'm already mechanically inclined. So I have to understand why something went wrong in order to fix it. And then it's literally the simple solution of just troubleshoot, and then you'll find out where you went wrong. And that's exactly what I do in my personal life. That's what I do in my current business. That's what I do all the time with anything that happens to me. I have to understand why it happened and how to fix it. And if it, after you fix it, never, ever, ever dwell on it, because that's what's going to kill you. If you fix your problem, awesome, but don't keep like staying on the fact that you failed over and over and over, because once those failures pile up, they're going to catch up to you really quick and they're going to limit you. So if you fail, understand why, find the solution, forget about that failure. It it can leave your mind, poof, gone. Doesn't matter because you found the solution. So this is your new rule, new system, new whatever that you're going to implement. Keep that in mind and keep the actual failure that happened out of mind, because at the end of the day, you're not going to change it. It doesn't matter how much you think about it. As long as you found the solution, nothing good is going to come out of remembering that failure. Nothing good.
It's very true.
So that's kind of the base of, it's funny you ask that, because that's like the base of what I do. Like that's the base of why I am where I am, is I understand that failure is key. Like so many people I've seen in my friend group, they try something, they try to do a detailing business, they try to do a whatever business, and then they fail within 2 weeks. I'm like, you didn't fail within 2 weeks. Like you just didn't try, and you didn't actually learn from the things you're making mistakes on. You're not going to go from never touching a business to multimillionaire entrepreneur. It's just, that's not how it works. Like if you look at actually what these people go through, it's road stop after roadblock after roadblock, and it's so many obstacles that you have to get over before you get to that point where it's a straight shot to hitting that million number, whatever you want to reach. It's never going to be easy, and if it was easy, everyone would do it. So just keep in mind, like, you need failure. You absolutely need failure, because if everything goes well, you're never going to be able to scale to where you want to go, because once something pops up, you're not going to know what to do. You're going to freak out, and you're not going to know what to do. But if you actually address failure and face it right away, address it right away, you're going to fix these problems and move on a lot quicker than if you would just put it on the back burner.
Yeah, to relate to you, and your system of like, what did I do wrong? What led up to that? And then, moving forward from it, like for me, like I'll already know what it is, but I've gotten to this point in my head where I'm like, I'm not gonna even think about it that much. Like it happened, but now I'm gonna take an action that's gonna move me forward and do something that's productive. And that
Mm-hmm.
works for me. And I know in my head too what led up to that too. So like I'm using your same system, but it's just a little
100%.
yeah. So
100%.
so actually I meant to cover this earlier, but I listened to one of your podcasts before this, and this is why I'm getting these good points from you. So um I forgot to mention that on 75 Hard you did it with no caffeine.
Yep.
So I can't fucking imagine doing that.
Yeah,
So
so the no caffeine move, and this was honestly, it was 50-50. It was half not knowing. In the first like 30 something days, I thought, yeah, in my mind, I don't know, I don't even know if this is true or not anymore, but I thought caffeine was always kind of classified as a drug, because it's a substance, whatever, people are addicted to it. And in my logic, I just said, hey, caffeine's a drug, no drugs. It's pretty straightforward to me. Um, but then after hearing, Andy Frisella keep saying, you could drink black coffee, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm understanding. And then I looked into it. Turns out, apparently, you're technically able to take caffeine. And I was like, thinking about it, like, do I need caffeine to run my day to day? Is that, do I want to sit on and work best off of caffeine, or would I rather just optimize myself with no caffeine, no substances, no anything, just my mind? And it made me realize, like, hitting the gym, in my opinion, it's a hell of a lot easier when you're on pre-workout. After you work 12 hours that day and you go for a run in the morning, it's a hell of a lot easier to work out when you're on pre-workout. That 300
yeah.
milligrams of caffeine hits pretty hard at 9 o'clock at night. So for me, if I could make it harder, absolutely. And that it made it a little bit harder, but honestly, it was so much better in my opinion. It made it so much more enjoyable to actually say, I have no substances, nothing backing me. There is no caffeine involved, nothing. And it doesn't help that I don't even like black coffee. Like I can't drink black coffee. So if I'm not gonna, add a tablespoon of sugar and some milk, I'm not gonna enjoy it. So
Right.
for me, it was like I'm not even able to have coffee anyway. The only thing I'm cutting out is pre-workout, and that just really for me is easier to work out on pre-workout. I lift more, I feel better, more energized, and I'm just like I don't really know. It just doesn't do it for me. So that was yeah, that definitely was something that I did. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. That's just something that I cut out that I felt was it actually had a big impact on what I did because now I don't need caffeine. Like I know come hell and high water, if I don't have my pre-workout on me, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm going to
Right.
be able to hit the gym just as much as, if I had that 300 milligram scoop and I was amped up. And right now, I don't even take caffeine for pre-workout. The only thing I drink is coffee. I have one
Huh.
coffee a day, maybe if that, and that's just because I like the flavor of a nice little latte. But
I hope you're at least getting some creatine or something then.
I take creatine. I take
Okay,
creatine.
good.
So the only thing I take is non-stim pre-workout. So it has your beta alanine, it has your L-citrulline, it has citrulline, it has all that good stuff in it, but it just doesn't have the caffeine.
Yeah,
And that just it's had the same effect for me, and my energy levels are high enough that I'm able to do that.
sounds good, man. So, I wanted to cover this last topic on leading by example, but it's like to think on it, it's like we're already doing it right now. A lot of people don't realize, like, the I noticed yesterday. I'm like, man, the amount of people that I'm actually affecting in their lives, that some of them I don't even know who I'm actually affecting. But I'm starting to see like certain people that are like Wes, who's just a new part of Kaizen. My friend Wes, he started 75 hard today. And I think that had to do with us talking a couple times this past week for him to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna start it. Like it's stuff like that and other people, and just what about you in your life? Like, where have you seen that? Like, I know with your mom, like for 75. So
Oh, dude, that was awesome. So I got three. I have 3 points I want to make here. Number one, which is the one you mentioned, is the effect of immediate people around you. So it's your family. I mean, not everyone's family is going to be awesome, and not everyone's family is going to be, wanting to support you and back you through everything you do, especially on something as crazy as 75 hard. They're going to look at it and say, "Oh, that's stupid," whatever. Don't listen to them. You do what you want to do, but you're gonna it's either going to be directly or indirectly. It depends on what your relationship is with your family, but you're going to affect them in some way. And I was able to do that with my mom after I finished 75 hard. She goes, "Hey, can I borrow one of your books?" And I was like, "The hell does my mom want to borrow a 75 hard book for?" I was like, "Sure." And then she said, "Awesome. 75 hard starts tomorrow." And I was like, "There is no way." She is now on day 56.
shit,
Uh, and she is killing it, dude. Every day she's killing it. She never meal prepped before. She's meal prepping every day. She's eating her breakfast. She's out there on her workouts. And it was like a huge, like, oh shit, like, this is the effect. Uh,
that's awesome.
the second point I want to make is leading by influence with friends. This is a extremely tough topic to, I guess, stay on, linger on, because it's such a gray area. There is, I practice indirectly leading my friends because a lot of people don't want to do the things you're doing. They don't have the goals that you have. So to just try and directly affect them, say, "Hey, try this program, try this, look at this, try this." They're going to get frustrated with you because they just don't have the same goals. So my old friends, I kept trying to do this, and I realized shortly they're not going to do it And me wasting my time and my energy on trying to make them do it is not going to work. So I indirectly lead my friends just by showing what I do. I just be me, and that has indirectly affected my friends majorly. I've seen so many changes in friends, I've seen so many changes in family just because I simply do things that I do anyway. And then that's kind of it's kind of, don't be dragging people along your journey. You're going to have points where you break out and you go to the next level. And those people that are down here, they're not going to follow you. They don't want to follow you. They're not going to. You don't have to cut them off completely, but make sure you're allocating your time properly to who actually matters and who's going to help you grow. It doesn't mean you can't go out to dinner with them once a week or whatever, once a month, just to catch up with them. Say, hey, how are you? That's fine, but you can't spend your time trying to bring them to your level because it's not going to work. And the last one, which is, in my opinion, the biggest, I absolutely love this, leading by example to strangers. And it goes on social media, it goes on your daily conversations, but in my opinion, the biggest impact that it has on my personal self is your demeanor every single day. I walk into a coffee shop and the first thing I say, it's not, hey, like, can I get a cold brew with whatever? It's, hey, how's your day going today, brother? And this person stops, says, good, man, good. How's your day? And it takes them back. And this is something that I love doing. And it affects so many people. I've had people change the whole dynamic of their day simply by asking how their day was going. Even if it's not a good day, stop and listen for another 15 seconds and see what they have to say. And just being the listening ears and having that energy in a room can change the dynamic like that so quickly. I love it. Absolutely. Like, this is like my bread and butter, changing the dynamic of a room. Absolutely love it because it's contagious. You walk into a coffee shop with a big smile, you're going to look at 3 people. 2 out of 3 of those people would have usually never smiled at you. And now 2 out of 3 of those people are smiling at you because you smiled at them. Um, it, it's surround yourself with the right people, but also create your environments. Be the one that owns the room. Walk in and make that the number one priority of, hey, I'm going to make 5 people in this room smile at me. And just by literally looking at them and giving them a grin, or, hey, man, how's it going? Someone you don't even know. I ask, how's it going, to everybody that I walk by. If they're within 20 feet of me, you're getting asked how your day is going. And it's so simple to do it, but no one does it. And
It's very true.
that's something you can do that's going to affect everyone you come in contact with. And now the ladies at the coffee shop, they know my name. They know the first question I ask when I walk in the door. They know everything. So it changes the whole dynamic of these places that you're going to. And at the end of the day, when I'm having a bad day, guess what happens when I walk in that coffee shop? I walk in, look at the barista. She has a smile on her face and she asks me how my day's going. And that's exactly what it is. It's setting
Reciprocating.
in a room, and it's reciprocating, and it's a huge thing. It's a huge, I urge you guys, if you can just make one person's day, just ask one person how their day is going, dude, that is a huge impact. Something you won't even know. Huge impact.
I think that's great, man. Like your message and what you're about, like 100%. Like you're spot on.
Yeah,
You're
I
spot
appreciate
on.
it,
You're
dude.
just being authentic too. It's not like So
No, absolutely. And I think and that's the message I want to put out, is just authenticity. This is me. Like, there's no beating around the bush. If you see me out in public, you're getting the same me right now than you are out in public. You're going to see me, I'm going to say, how's your day going? Because that's just what I do.
right.
That's just, be yourself, honestly. Just be yourself. And you don't have to have, some people on this podcast are probably buddies of yours that don't have the same goals, or they're probably people that are just kind of, looking around on podcasts. And you understand, you don't have to have these crazy, outrageous goals. I have some absurd goals that you're going to have to put some work in to hit. I'm sure you have the same thing. But you don't have to have this to take value from something. You just have to be able to take one piece of information. And it's so simple. It's as simple as changing the dynamic of a room. And that's really what it is. It's just, you don't have to be on the same exact path as somebody, but just lighten up. Like that's it. Just be a little cooler.
I agree. So, Christian, where can everybody find you and more information and
Yep.
yeah.
So socials are just at Christian Holmes X on everything. Facebook is just Christian Holmes. You're going to find my dot card link. You'll get my number on there. You'll get my email. Whatever you guys want to reach out to me or whatever you guys have going on in your life. Struggling with something, if you have some crazy ideas bouncing around, if you have some goals, if you just want someone to talk to, let me know, man. I'm an open book. This is literally what I love to do, is just to talk to people and network and just chat with people. If you want to just chat one day, hit me up and we'll talk, man.
That's great, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show and spending the time. And
Absolutely.
hopefully we can talk again, maybe on yours next. So,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
all right.
Dude, keep doing what you're doing. I love the show. I love the message. Keep doing it. It's making a huge difference, brother.
I appreciate that.
All
So,
right, keep killing it, man.
all right, man. So I gotta head out.
You are on a mission to become the greatest man your bloodline has ever seen.